Hey.
It's 27 time.
Yes. We're in the building.
You know what I was thinking about? Just like random thought. Like you only do things with numbers.
Yeah, I'm a very
19, 27.
Yes, I'm very much into numerology. So
Yes.
astrology,
Do you know what
numerology,
27 is?
all the ologies. What 27 is? What is it?
Do you know what? No, I was wondering if you know what it is. Numerology.
No. Yeah, no, I haven't looked into it yet.
We're going to
But
figure
I
that
love
out.
numbers. I revolve around numbers. Yay, welcome guys.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Hey. All right, guys. So,
this is a quick one.
yeah, this is not super deep, but if you haven't been here before, welcome. I'm Khaliah and this is Nova, and welcome to 27, where we discuss race and rights. Today we're going to be going over the Third Amendment, which is a pretty short one. Give me 1 second. Pass me that really quickly, team. I didn't have my other notes with me. So the Third Amendment is a pretty short one. It's not really crazy. It's not something that a lot of people even think is relevant today, but we're going to let you know whether or not it is. That's the big thing. Right? So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with reading what the amendment is. And of course, guys, the objective of this is for us to discuss this, for us to come up with amendments to this amendment. So Nova and I already have one prepared for you, but we'd love for you to get in on the action with us. So if you have any, add them into the bottom. I am screen recording this one. We're getting better with each episode. So now I can actually go back and look at all of the questions and such, and we'll make sure that everything gets answered and we follow up.
Oh, iconic. And I'm seeing a lot of names that we know in here. So you guys better come correct and join us, ask questions. We want it to be like a together thing. We want it to be a moment between all of us, and we're learning too. It's not like we woke up and we're like, I know everything about law and I'm here
Not at all.
So this is like a joint journey.
Absolutely. We're here to learn with you. So if you know something, shout it out. Jeopardy, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and read it out verbatim. So no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Once again.
They make it so easy.
Yes. Why?
It's very understandable.
And what exactly
do you need? Not just amending the amendments, but I think it would be really great to have like, do you know how they have like Bibles in like modern text and
layman
like that?
terms, translations, aka cliff notes of the Constitution.
We need amendment cliff notes.
Yeah, absolutely, because I mean, you need a thesaurus and a dictionary just to figure out what half the words are, and then you can kind of get to the meaning. So, absolutely. So what does the Third Amendment mean? Nova, you want to give them a little background?
Yeah, so it's basically, whether it's wartime, peacetime, whatever, no matter what's going on in the world, the military cannot stay in your home. So that's like just putting it super basic. We are going to dive in more, but like that's basically it. Like, it's just saying like military can't come in and be like, hi, like I have the right to stay here. Where's my bed? That can't happen.
Yeah. We can't just like come and commandeer my space. You can't just like, you know what, knock, knock. The military, I deserve to be in this dwelling. Like you have a right to your property, your own space. You can say, no. Yeah, you can't say that.
So we'll get right into questions. Why does the Third Amendment exist? So why did they even make this? So this was actually a direct response to the tyranny that they were feeling from the British Crown. So everything, the first 10, the Bill of Rights, they were like, oh, after the American Revolution, they were like, we need to make a list of rules that cannot be broken. So we're not going to be taken advantage of by the British Crown. So it's kind
The
of
irony.
ironic when you think about it today.
Yeah, the irony that you don't want to be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you think it would be like very obvious, like let's join together with marginalized groups because we've felt the same thing from the British Crown. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, somebody gets a little bit of power,
then that's it. Yeah, it's over. There's always one, look, as they say too, they always like to say, you know, that one bad apple doesn't make them all bad, but we know that one bad apple does actually ruin the whole bunch.
yes, we just threw away some tomatoes today.
Yes, you know what I
so
mean?
upset.
So, you know, just the same analogy with police officers. Like, one bad apple can ruin the whole bunch, guys. So I know that everybody feels like, you know, not everybody is bad, but if everybody isn't standing up, then everybody's bad. It's the same thing. Yes. So that is where this amendment originally came from, right? So then after we find these things out, then we want to know, like, are they relevant in today's society, or, you know, what were the other times that they were used? So then we start digging into the law a little bit. That's where we start looking into precedents. Nova usually does all the precedent stuff. And then I catch up, you know what I mean? But we collaborate together.
So what if I rent? So it basically says they can't stay at your home quartered in any house. So as we see, like, through the times, you'll see court cases where something will be ruled, and that will be what we call a precedent for the rest of the cases going forward. So in 1979, there was a case where there were prison officials in New York, and they organized a strike. So they were evicted from their homes that were on the prison campus, not campus, but on the prison grounds. They had homes. And when they went on strike, they actually took the National Guard, sent them to go in their place, and kicked them out of their homes. So the prison guards were like, wait a second, like, you're violating my Third Amendment rights. So the state, or it could be the state, or I'm not a lawyer. The
judicial system.
Yes, thank you, Khaliah.
Hey.
So the judicial system ruled against them, saying that the term owner in the Third Amendment does include tenants. And 19 just asked, what about hotels? So I'll skip forward a little bit to answer that question. Actually, no, you're going to have to wait, 19. I'm going to talk about one thing, and then we're going to talk about hotels. So there was a very interesting case in 2011 I want to talk about. So basically, the North Las Vegas police arrived outside the Mitchell's homes in July of 2011. They were calling in response to a domestic violence call that was across the street. And they were like, okay, we need to commandeer your home to basically do a more effective stakeout. So the police arrived, and the neighbor had barricaded himself and a child in his home. So a SWAT team arrives on the scene. So according to the Mitchell's lawsuit, Henderson police officer asked Anthony Mitchell, that's the guy whose home it is, to allow the police to use his house to gain a tactical advantage over the neighbor. But Anthony Mitchell was like, no, like, you cannot come in my home.
Right. You can't
I don't even know what's going on. So then the lawsuit claims that the police later knocked down Mitchell's door with a battering ram, a metal ram.
Right, regardless.
They're like, oh, you don't want to let us in?
We're just going to come in.
Anyways. And then once they break in, they do not hand him a warrant. They just break right in with zero warrant and then arrest the guy and search his house. And so this is triggering because of Brianna, because we talked a little bit about this.
We talked a little bit about this, and the irony in this case is that the officers in this instance were able to do this because they are officers, and the court decided that they are not soldiers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But the reason that they were Yeah, so you know, at the end it was like, okay, well, these are officers, so that's what they were able to break into your house, which is even more crazy because if you're an officer of the law, you're supposed to have a warrant to go into my home. And they didn't have a warrant, hence a no knock warrant. They barged into this person's house and then arrested the individual after they commandeered his home.
Yeah.
For an illegal stakeout also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the judge, their like exact words was, I hold that a municipal officer, so that's like a local police or any like local government, not federal, is not a soldier for the purposes of the Third Amendment. So
ambiguity, absolutely.
Yes. Just to give a little, I don't want to paint him as a terrible judge. So we're going to talk like we're going to play devil's advocate a little bit. But so on the one hand, we're like, okay, they actually said that they were more effectively protected by the Fourth Amendment, which is right. So the judge is like on their side. They're like, you know what? You can win this case. You're not wrong, but we need to go about with the Fourth Amendment, not the Third. Right. But the bad thing is the fact that they ruled that a municipal officer is not a soldier. As we saw in the 2008 case, if you watched our last one on the Second Amendment, in 2008, the entire system was changed because they decided that the Second Amendment was now a right to bear arms for individuals, whereas before it was for a state militia. Fight off the government. So like to make
not sure for individual gun ownership.
Exactly. So it's dangerous what they said. So by saying that it's not a soldier for the purposes of the Third Amendment, now somebody else can go back and say, oh, well, in the case of North Las Vegas versus Mitchell, I don't know what it's really called. I didn't write it down, but something of that to that effect. Yeah. They said this. So now any police can take advantage of the Third Amendment.
Right. Yeah. Basically, they're using ambiguity where they just kind of like switch it to work for them, which is what this whole judicial system has been about. There needs to be like things that are put into place that don't allow loopholes for certain individuals and not others, for sure. Which is why we're amending the amendment.
Yes. We should have named some of the amendments. Maybe. I like 27 though; it's cute.
I love 27 because it's quick, and then I like amend the amendments because it's a hashtag.
Yes.
Sorry,
I want to shout out some comments. So Kayla said, so crazy that you should be forced out of your own home like that.
Absolutely. Crazy. Which they used to do.
What is mom's name?
Shirley.
And Goldie Shirley said ambiguity. Yes, ambiguity.
Yeah.
Tiffany said, if officers aren't soldiers, they don't need tanks.
Exactly. They don't need new SWAT. They don't need, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to give them $750,000 more for equipment.
Yes.
Or even more so for the lawsuits that we end up having to pay for because they don't know how to de-escalate.
Yeah.
And I do want to blanket that it's not everyone, but it's enough of you to be making noise.
It's definitely enough.
Yeah.
And then Jamie said, it's been a long ass time since I just got nervous for swearing.
I think we're old enough. I think it's okay.
Jamie said it's been a long ass time since these were written. They didn't they didn't want to rule the right way. Yes, which is why we're amending it. And then 19, we know, said she wanted to know if it was current. So does this matter in today's world? And it actually does. So recently we saw with the Black Lives Matter, all of the protesting, there's so much craziness going on.
Crazy sickness.
Follow the ACLU. They are going in, telling you what's actually happening in the world. But recently in Utah and in DC, they had the National Guard move in and take up hotel space. So the city was like, no, this violates the Third Amendment. Like, you have soldiers coming into these hotels, which are privately owned, and
pushing
you
people
are
out.
exactly, you're violating the Third Amendment right. You do not have a right to stay here, and it actually went through, so they had to leave. I don't know if they had to leave in Utah, but they did in DC, but I know they did in Utah. So they actually had to leave the hotels and find somewhere else
and find their own places. Yeah. Which,
so that's where we are.
Yeah. So that's the Third Amendment in a nutshell. It's really not super heavy, but I do think it's important to know, because if you don't know that, anybody could just like bust into your home. And I mean, I think a lot of times things that sound very outlandish, like it sounds crazy, but if someone came to your house and they were in a uniform and they had like an official vehicle or something, you would second guess yourself like, well, am I supposed to let this person come in my house? I mean, like, I feel like I could say no, but I mean, what if they just barge in anyway? Like, what right do I have? Well, now you know. It's your Third Amendment right. They can't. It doesn't matter what they've got. It doesn't matter what type of equipment they've got outside or who they brought with them or whatever.
A bunch of people jumping out of the back of a SWAT
right.
van,
They can't
running
come
up
and
to your
bust in the
building.
They can't do it at all. I did want to just take a moment to for the movement and for the change that we're wanting to see in the world, mention the passing of John Lewis as well as C.T. Vivian. They're really warriors in the fight that we're fighting still to this day. And I just wanted to take a moment to recognize them and lift them up as they transition from where we are today to a new place. And, you know, Nova and I wouldn't even be able to be here today and do this if it had not been for their sacrifice. So I did want to just say that. So thank you guys for, you know, joining us and helping us with the change that we do want to see. So, yeah.
I'm gonna go cry now.
Well, the third was really short, but I did have some things that I wanted to chat about too from the Second Amendment, because it was like guns blazing, no puns intended. But there was so many things that we didn't get to talk about. I would love if you guys.
Also, really quick, if you do have questions about the Third Amendment, please comment below.
Comment.
So we can answer those.
If you think about some amendments during this time, please put them in the comment box, because like I said, I will be able to review this time.
And we know how my I'm internet challenged. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm being personally victimized by Instagram. Are there comments coming through? Oh, okay, wait, they all just came through. Literally right as I said that. Instagram heard me.
Look, like there they go. Bam. Okay, yeah. So let's see. 19 says, I feel like this law will be brought more to light with the way these extra policemen are getting called to the protest. Yeah, absolutely.
What does that mean?
We were kind of trying to think about a way that, you know, the Third Amendment could be used negatively against us today. And I think the only way that we could really think about it was with police and them just forcing their way into your home. And now that they're not soldiers, it actually says that they can do that, you know? And even if they have a warrant, who knows if it's a no-knock warrant, if they can just bust your door down and come into your dwelling without you being able to have any say so. So that was the only real circumstance that we could kind of think of that could actively play into our lives today.
But that's a huge one. Like,
it's huge.
We were,
and
like, pre-2011, you're like,
reality.
okay. Pre-2011, we're like, okay, like, I'm good. I'm protected. And then literally now there's a precedent saying that, oh, police officers don't count.
Right.
Look, you could get real conspiracy and be like, well, you could take, like... You know, I love a real conspiracy.
Look,
you could take like regular or like military officials, kick them out, put them in a police uniform. Do I have to finish?
Oh, look, I know. I thought you were going 19th passing me questions too. So let's see. Troy said, are there any historical examples of why this amendment is even necessary? Yes. So we spoke about the British rule that America was under before they gained their independence in 1776. The first 10 amendments are an answer to the tyranny that they were under. So the Third Amendment was written specifically because they wanted to make sure that soldiers could never take over their homes again, like they could during British rule prior to our independence. Well, America's independence, not our independence, but America's independence.
They actually had British soldiers staying in homes, bars, all sorts of places, and in American soil. And then I think they were actually paying a tax. Americans were paying a tax to. I have to look at it further. I'm so sorry. But it was, so they were like, no, that's never going to happen again.
I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, the Josephine Baker story, but that was the first time I ever remember seeing like the Third Amendment actually, or something like this actually take place. Because in the movie, she lives in France, and I believe it's either during World War I or World War II. But they come and they commandeer her home. The soldiers come and they commandeer her home, and she had all these children, and they kicked all of them out into the streets and took over her home. And that was like, that's always like how I remember the Third Amendment.
And that's
a true story.
Hopefully everyone in here knows Josephine Baker's a real person.
Yes,
are you saying this is her life story, or it was a movie that she started?
No, this is her life story. Yeah.
Okay.
Who played her? Oh, it's a really famous actress that I love. I don't know why I can't think of her name right now. But yeah,
put it in the
comments. Josephine Baker story. Yeah, Josephine Baker story. It's bomb. It's one of my favorites. I could watch it over and over. It made me want to like adopt a whole like harem of children. I wanted to have like 12 kids. That was then.
That's so much.
But back then I was like, oh my God, look, this is so amazing. Yeah.
We went from maybe 2 to maybe 1 to maybe at all.
I know.
COVID hit, and we're like, I don't know. Like, let's just see what happens in America.
She was so inspirational to me at the time. So Jamie says, without knowledge, people might resist well within their rights. So police can arrest people. Just another way to hurt innocent people. Hurt or arrest innocent people. Yeah, absolutely. The ambiguity that they hold allows them to kind of switch laws up, you know, as they like to fit the narrative that they have going on at the time. Whatever like capitalist things are happening at the time is like whatever the narrative is, unfortunately. Basically. Yeah.
And then Kayla, real quick, because we know Kayla will call us out if we don't say her comment.
Well,
she said they should add people in uniform should be allowed to randomly start beating people, like in the protests. Just kidding.
I mean, you guys saw that you saw that they're just like in unmarked vehicles picking people up off the streets at protests.
Just like stealing people.
Yeah, like since when can you do that?
I mean, shooting people in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, with non-lethal weapons.
Rubber bullets.
Which is ridiculous because I mean if you can cause brain damage, it might as well be lethal. I mean,
look up rubber bullet hit to the head if you're not squeamish, and you'll see what these wounds actually look like. They are insane. A rubber bullet is literally just a bullet wrapped in rubber. Like that's the only difference. Like it's still,
and you're not supposed to shoot them at an individual. You're supposed to hit them, you know, go to the ground, and then it's supposed to like bounce off the ground. So it's not full impact. Mm-hmm.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah. And I mean, thank God for social media in the weirdest, terriblest way, because now you can kind of see the things that are happening, because before people just refused to believe that they're happening, but they are happening, you know, and even now they see it and they still, you know, try to deny it. But yeah, it's out there. It'll long live on forever. So let's see.
Jamie said Lynn Whitfield. Is that who it is?
Yes, Lynn. Yes. Oh my God, Lynn. You guys, Lynn is one of those actresses that's like so good at what she does that if she plays somebody that's really great, you love her. Or if she plays somebody really mean, she's like the meanest mean, and you're like, oh my God, why are you like this? So yeah, she's a great actress, Lynn.
Mom, Charlie just said the craziest thing, and
What?
I fully am flipping out. She said the Third Amendment could be used to come into our homes and force vaccinations. Right. Which we don't even know what's in.
Yeah, now see that's a horrible reality. And you know, they'll have police officers there to administer it. Is this what the NFAC said, Mom? Tell me. Is that what Jay said? Because look, now I'm frightened.
Does the seizure of homes in the war on drugs fall under the Third Amendment? Oh, that's a good question. Well, if it was, but
I would probably say the fourth.
Yeah.
I would say that's how the government would classify it.
Because that precedent didn't happen. It wasn't actually passed. It happened in 2011, but the case wasn't ruled on until 2015, which is very recent.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to say that police officers aren't soldiers, so they can come into your home as long as they have a warrant, which is generally trumped up. I mean, the thing with the judicial system is people are too close to each other. It's like there's not enough degrees of separation. So if you just have a judge in your pocket because it's not, there needs to be
not even
more
just
degrees. That. There needs to be councils in between and things that check off on things, but it's just, yeah, it's not right.
Well, they had, when the Constitution was made, the branches of government, all of that, basically they had it in a checks and balances system. So police weren't judging their own cases. So the DAs weren't in the pocket. It was fully separate.
Yeah, it was. And then over time, it's just been
and the police officers weren't doing these interrogations where they were trying to manipulate the law. So over time, we've gotten to a point where police officers are almost acting like lawyers.
Right. And they are not lawyers.
No.
And let us not forget where the police department started for catching runaway slaves. So, I mean, the intent has always been negative. It's never been in our favor,
Are we going to talk about that in another episode, or should we just talk about it now?
I mean, it's definitely, I would say, part of the 13th Amendment because, I don't know, it's part of all the amendments, honestly, because like we said, all the amendments need to have race added to them in order for them to, somewhat be valid, seeing as to how the Constitution was written prior to, Black people being naturalized citizens or humans in the United States. So before that's added to anything, it's always just kind of off. It's like, well, who was it written for? Yeah.
There's some good comments that I know
come through.
It's going to get us off on a tangent. I know we wanted to talk more about the Second Amendment. We just need to do a Second Amendment part 2, to be honest.
Yeah. Let's get to the comments.
Yeah. So 19 said passports, or Jamie said time to plan an exit. People are saying they're coming. Jamie said time to plan an exit. Then everyone said passports ready. And then Jamie said, you know it. No one. And then Jamie said, too bad no one will take us. And 19 said, I know, right? And then I want to talk about what we talked about on the phone, because we actually spoke about this.
Yes, recently. We just talked about passports.
So
we just talked about it.
Basically, well, I'll let you talk. You should talk about it, because you were illuminating me. Me again.
So my thing is we are stuck in America, and I feel like America has done this deliberately. I'm not going to say that everyone is stuck, but the majority of the people in America do not have passports. People in other countries, I would say 90% of people in other countries have passports, because to go to what we would consider another state, you would have to have a passport to go to. So it's just the normal thing for you, which allows them to in turn travel the whole entire world. Well, when you're born in the United States, the Fifth Amendment allows you the right to travel freely within the 50 states. Therefore, it gives you a sense of comfort that, you know, you may not need to necessarily leave from here. Everything that you need is here. Now, especially for Black people, I'm going to say probably like 90% of them do not have passports. So we are essentially stuck here. And then the irony of that is that these people who are racist tell you to go back to where you came from, but you know you can't go back because you don't have a passport and you can't leave. And if you did leave, there would be no America. Like nothing would run without Black people. I mean, let's just keep it real. Like, I mean, everybody is necessary in society, and Black people are necessary in the society, and they do recognize that. So even though they say to go back to where you came from, they know that that's just an ignorant statement, and it's not even, it's a falsehood. Yeah, so Kayla had a question. Wait, proposed amendment to the amendment, change soldiers to uniformed officers or government officials and take out peace and war. Yeah, I like that too. I definitely like that.
Right.
Change soldiers to uniformed officials. Yeah, I mean, really, if they were like kind of all classified the same, that might change a lot.
I'm going to work on our amendment while you finish the questions.
Yeah, I feel like that would be great. Let me see. They're going to come across the wrong ones. These Karens, 19. And then Jamie said Karens are acting like the police. Absolutely. Can we also just take a moment to talk about how violent it is to call the police on Black people? I don't think that people really like understand the danger that takes place when you call the cops on a Black person, even when maybe they are doing something, but when they are not doing something, the implicit danger that you just put that person in, I mean, I almost feel like it's attempted murder because you don't know who's going to show up at my house. You don't know if it's going to be a good one or a bad one, and if they're going to be in a good mood or not, or if I'm going to be in a good mood, or if the interaction is going to go well. You know, it could literally be the end of my life for you doing that. So I just want everybody to always like take a moment and just like take a step back and think about like already, can you just de-escalate the situation, or are you actually fearful for your life, or are you just fearful of my skin color? Because that's a real thing too.
We just spoke about this a little bit, and I was talking about a neighbor I had, a Black man, and he was being brutalized by a white woman. He confided in us, told us about like how he had called we're like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you need to get out of this relationship. He's like, well, I called the police, and then I don't know if they arrested him or something happened, but basically like they of course believe the white woman, and this woman is beating his ass. Like, I mean, I saw the wounds, and like it's insane. So it's like, who do you call as a Black person when you're in fear for your life?
Absolutely. You just don't call anyone. And that's the whole, like, that's the whole thing. I would never call the police. Even if I needed them, I would not. Like straight up. There's been situations here in my own home where I've had like crazy neighbors and I needed to call the police. I would never call the police because they're probably not even going to believe what I'm saying. And I'm a very rational individual anyway. Yeah. I mean, and I have friends that are police officers, and that's a different situation. But when it comes to, you know, tempers flaring and things like that, and my word against somebody else's, like, I'm just not even trying to go there. So I stay away from it as much as possible. Like, following all the rules while breaking some, but following all the rules. Do you know what I mean? That's how you gotta be. Like, gotta follow the rules to break the rules. Everybody knows that.
I love that. Like, I'm not going to go into everything, but like the things that I got away with as a white person, as a white woman in my like late teens, early 20s are, I mean, insane. I've talked to you about some of them. Like,
yeah, we know that this is the world we live in.
This is insane. And I just thought it was like that for everyone. Like, I was like, Oh, like I honestly thought it was like a female thing. Like I was like,
Mhm.
oh, because like I'm a girl, like maybe I'm not getting like, because I'm a feminine girl, like I'm
Right.
getting like benefits and things like that.
Right.
But, and it also like makes me think about like, I was pulled over, like I get no slack from black cops. No slack at all. So like
Yeah.
it kind of like puts, I was like so confused about, before I started doing like so much introspective work, I was very confused about an encounter I had in Decatur, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
where I literally was not like, I was speeding, but I like nowhere near what they were saying.
Right.
Nowhere near. Like it was so wrong and such a lie. And I ended up out the pocket like $400 or something crazy like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, but now I'm
Yeah.
like looking back and I'm like, oh, like that's just like kind of like reparations. And like recently I've been less mad about it, and I've been holding on to this for a decade. And like recently I've been like, oh, like I kind of get it now. Like I would probably do the same thing. Let's be real.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, that's why if everybody could just be fair, it would be fine.
Be
Like
what?
if everybody could just be equal and everybody could just be fair, like it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, people are extra. So Sam, he had a comment. I wanted to get to that too. He said, to go back to where you came from is the United States, which I mean, I agree. We've been here forever and people still use that narrative to go back to where you came from, which is asinine. M.
I love
Goldie
what you
said,
said.
what did you say?
I love what you said. I think you sent me something, and it was, you sent me a thing, and it was like, to be African American is to be, I'm
To
gonna
be,
say it wrong.
I
I
think
don't
it's
want to.
like to be African without a home and to be American without the privilege.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Which,
sums it up.
yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? We're here. Yeah.
You
So,
kidnapped us, brought us here,
hmm?
had us build. You kidnapped us, brought us here, had us build your country, and then now you're telling us to go back to where we came from when we have no knowledge of that lifestyle, like that like, whole life,
Right.
like.
Right. But there's also like a non-acceptance of just that in general, like of that time. They don't acknowledge that. Well, it was then, you know, it's fine that it was then, but we're not asking for you to say sorry or anything. I just want my just due. I just want my generational wealth, and I want to, you know, be able to have money for my kids and college and all of the things that everybody else gets to do that I never even knew were things that existed. So
I can't wait for the whatever amendment talks about like the wage gap and the like generational wealth, all that. Like that's gonna be a lot.
yeah,
There's so
that's
much.
gonna come, I believe. I think that'll kind of start on like the 13th, 14th, 15th. That's when you really start getting into human rights, into women's rights, into voting.
People being not just when they're like, okay, like let's address some things without addressing them, but we're gonna address them a little bit.
Right, yeah, because everything kind of like goes together in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of them leads all into all of them. Mom said, we don't run America, but we make America run. Absolutely. M. Goldie, we absolutely make America run, you know?
I love
We made
that.
America great. We made America great. And we're trying to make it great again. So, was there another question?
Jamie said, can almost be 99% people, wait, I'm reading, I can read. Can almost bet 99%, 99, I can read, people. Okay.
99.9%.
Thank you. People that, I can't read. Can you read it?
Can almost bet 99.9% of people that their families are like second generation immigrants. Yes. Agree. I mean, the first lady is an immigrant. What? I mean,
Like not even a little bit.
listen.
Like not even like kinda.
And I love all people. You know, it's just the irony in these statements. It's just
I know Kayla
wild.
has my back right now. Virgos will stand and die on a principle, okay? Look, you're going to talk about immigration not being okay, and then look at your family. Not just one wife. How many wives?
I don't think any of them were from where. Maybe one was. Was it Marla Maples? Was Marla Maples his mom, or was that his wife?
I don't know. He probably. I'm gonna.
I know. I don't even want to say what I was thinking.
Okay.
Just gonna like leave that part alone. But yeah, the irony is real. Hi, Akeem. Look, no, but nobody needed to have a moment.
Okay, I'm good.
Look, Busy D said they have been doing it forever. Now on camera is what made them so bold as 45. Absolutely. We all know that 45 has emboldened the masses to show their asses. And I'm ready for November. Guys, please get out and vote. If you are in one of these poor states that are just being super hard hit by COVID-19, get your voters' ballots. I've got mine sitting right here. My absentee ballot, I will be sending it in. That's another thing. I wish there was a way that you could check and make sure that your absentee ballot had been received. I think that that's something.
We're gonna get so crazy into this on voting.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that should be added. You know, like you just get something back in the mail that says like received and like counted. You know, because there's a lot of times that I feel like they get lost as well. Okay, so Pax, I believe, is in the house, and she says her family was also allowed to immigrate under a policy Trump tried to get rid of. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look into that. Kaylee, if you're on here, put what that was so that I can look it up.
M. Goldie said, when our home was being terrorized in the 60s, we were told that the police would not help us. So this was in the Jim Crow era. They wouldn't help you, but I bet they would take your house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the police and the KKK, of course, are one and the same, and they still are, you know, just with the hood and without a hood. So that's why there was no help then, unfortunately. I mean, it's not as deep now, but it's still just as deep. I mean, I don't even want to say that. I don't want to say it's not as deep. It's just as deep. It's probably deeper now because now it's like harder to even like root these people out because now they're just at the top. What did
Jim said something real good. She said, can you send it certified mail? That's a really great idea. I'm going to throw in a butt there. Mm-hmm. We are privileged enough to do that. Yes. So I think you could. But one of the biggest things with suppressing the vote is a lot of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, especially like in like lower income areas, because of the ID requirement. All of these things cost money. A passport's expensive. That's why all of these things, like, you're expecting people to, you know, go back to your country, but like you're charging X amount of dollars for a passport. You know, like, you have a right to vote, but you still have to pay for your ID. And you may have children that you're trying to make sure you can afford to feed them. Now we're in a pandemic. Things resources are even harder to get.
And then we're going to take poles away from your house too. So now you've got to go out further. So
and if you have children that you need babysitters for, now you have to pay for extra childcare to wait in line for less machines because you are in a district that is drawn like this.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry.
So
I'm not upset.
That's what John Lewis has been working on for all that time. God rest his soul. Yes. I mean, these are the things, these are the fights that we have to take up now, guys. Like, there's so many places and so many things to look up and so many resources to be seen. But this is the fight that we're fighting. It's not anywhere near over yet. And this election right here is really showing all the cracks in the system.
We'll have some good, like, thank you everyone. I just want to say
yes, thank you guys so much for
this
commenting.
Is so good. We're like, this is going to be like 30 minutes max. It's been 45 minutes.
That's good.
Pat said it's called chain immigration. I've never heard that term. I've never heard that tone.
I'm writing that down.
I can't wait to look it up after this. And then Jamie said FedEx and UPS need to step up and certify it for free. That would be nice. Iconic. How do we make that happen?
I know. Look, FedEx is in the mood right now. You know, they just got rid of the Redskins. They're here. They got time on their hands during this pandemic.
We need to. Like, can we start?
Did FedEx change management or something? Like, did they change company management or something? Who said that? Who was like, you know what? We're just gonna shoot it out there today. I think today's the day that he's finally gonna just buckle. Which is
I live for it.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's really good.
Okay, this, when we both did this, is gonna be my my cover for the when I post it. Look, I'm still a makeup artist. I'm not a lawyer.
Look,
and Goldie said the marathon continues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What else do we have? So many blocks, it's not right.
We talked about...
Hello to everybody who's joining too.
Whoa, there are more questions. Every time I'm like, oh, maybe
yes.
There's more.
I know. So wait, 19 says, completed absentee ballot request forms may also be delivered by mail by the U.S. Postal Service for a designated delivery service authorized pursuant of, okay. So we'll have to look
screenshot this.
Okay. Look. Okay, so I'm going to have to Google that after. Catch my stories for what that exactly means.
Yeah. We're going to go.
Right? 19 spitting gems. Hi, Christine.
Gotta come with the facts.
Yes.
We also talked about how does the Third Amendment target BIPOC? Can I say BIPOC? Is that the right, like?
BIPOC is Black, Indigenous people of color. Black and Indigenous people of color.
You can say BIPOC though, right?
All the browns, yes. The BIPOC, I think, is a fine term.
Perfect.
Just so everybody knows what that is.
So we talked about how does the Third Amendment target BIPOC, aka I cut you off.
And Indigenous people of color.
I fully cut you off for a second time. I cut off the word Black, which is kind of typical for a white person to do. So, you know, I'm just going to go with it. So how does it target BIPOC? And so I think we need to take it back to a case that we talked. I'm so animated. I apologize to everyone.
It's good. Keep it going.
Yeah. We need to take it back to the Second Amendment when we talked about, I don't have the notes in front of me, but we talked about a case where a Black woman was basically going into a case that was the exact same as a white person, and they were claiming the exact same things. The difference was the Black individual was a woman, and she shot warning shots, so never even hit the individual.
Shoot the individual, correct.
She was like, hey, you're beating my ass. This is domestic violence. Stay back. And then a white person did the same exact thing, but actually killed someone. The white person served 20 years on 3 charges of aggravated assault.
Black person.
Yeah, not aggregated, aggravated.
The Black person served 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. So it was the Black individual, the Black woman. She was charged for 20 years on 3 the Black woman was charged for 20 years on 3 counts of aggravated assault.
Yes.
Aggravated. Okay.
I don't know. It just doesn't want to come out right now.
It's fine.
Aggravated
and
assault.
then the white person got off.
Yeah, got off.
Completely.
Actually was like, didn't he, I mean, wasn't even arrested for months.
No.
For months. And then when was arrested, it was just completely botched. It was like the prosecution wasn't even down for the individual, for the victim, which is upsetting. Right. But
if you want to know more about Trayvon Martin's case, there is a docu-series on Amazon Prime, which is $11.99. It is the best $11.99 that I have spent all COVID. It's very well executed. It really does a good job of explaining what really went down.
Nova 19 said your wine's kicking in.
It happens. We're not lawyers. We're wine drinking makeup artists that care about the world, okay? We're learning with you, not at you.
Once you have to start talking about charges and cases and all of the C's and stuff, then it's like, wait, what?
There's so much language too that I'm just not used to. And this is, I mean, we've heard us read 3 amendments at this point. You know that they are not written for anyone who is alive today. And you know that they are not written for people to actually understand what's going on. If they wanted people to understand it, there would be an updated version that was in layman's terms, simplified terms. But by leaving them in the previous terms, by leaving them in I guess I would call it a dialect, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Of the English language, by leaving it in that terminology, we see cases like the 2008 case where it was overturned. And we're like, oh, we're just going to take half of the amendment and say that this comma means it's 2 separate things, rather than this comma means it's just taking a pause in the sentence.
Correct.
And we're going to change the identity of the entire amendment.
Ambiguity.
M. Goldie back again.
Yes. Like 19 said amen in the background.
Yes,
absolutely. So it's just a different interpretation of the law, which there should only be a right and a wrong interpretation. So we've got to get out here, guys. We got to get in these streets, and we got to amend these amendments.
Speaking of amending amendments, is it time?
Let's do it. You've got it available? I
do have it available.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay.
Do you want to read it?
I got it. Unless you want to read it.
No, come through.
No, you hang up first.
I know. Now you
hang up first.
Yeah, no, you read it because I cut it off in my thing.
Okay, so we added what Kayla said about uniformed officials, so I crossed a little bit out. So this is hashtag amend the amendments with an S or without an S. We need to decide because I've done it both ways.
I think let's just do amend the amendment with a T, not an S on the end, guys. So it'll be for each individual amendment.
Got it.
Yeah?
Yes.
You agree? Okay.
I agree. Hashtag amend the amendment. Okay, so this is for the 3rd amendment. No military. Wait. I scratched it out and I still read it.
What?
I literally drew pen through it and I still read it. Like, that's not a flag. Okay.
It's coming.
No uniform. Okay, this is. You know I'm really good at reading, everyone. Okay. No uniformed official workers have any right to occupy a person's residence without enthusiastic consent, regardless of their race, color, creed, immigration status, sexual orientation, or sexual identity. This is also true for any privately owned building or establishment, including but not limited to hotels, restaurants, storage facilities, and any other places of business. Wartime, peace, or neutrality will have no effect on the 3rd Amendment.
Bam.
I wish I had a mic.
I feel like that's good. I feel like our amendments have been good. So we're going to make sure that this amendment is in the body again so that you guys can read over it. And you guys can also add to it in the comment section if you like.
I've always wanted to drop a mic, so I was going to drop a cork.
Mine is already poured. I don't have the bottle near me.
Well, 19 called me out. I have the bottle
Look,
right next to me. 19 called me out. I have the bottle
dang,
right
I
next
haven't even seen you drink it the whole
to
time. I've
me.
been fine. Yeah.
You know, I'm moving all around in these streets.
Do we have any other questions? I'm going through. Let me see. Okay. Let's see.
Yes, we are going to post this. So it'll be on Khaliah's page, and then I'll post like, we kind of swap, and then I'll post like a 15-minute clip.
Yes.
Because they don't let you post the entire thing. So we have to like download it, clip it, put it on whoever doesn't post it. So this will be available.
Find all the full ones on both of our pages
Yeah.
under the series 27 on our IGTV. So when you when you go and you search it, there's a little box that looks like a little TV. Just click on that, and then you'll see series 27, and then you'll see the episodes. And because we switch from page to page, then sometimes one of us will have full and one of us will have half. But just, you can find them all there.
Khaliah's odd numbers, I'm even numbers. Which I'm very jealous of you because I love odd numbers.
And I love even, so that's funny, but we're working it out. Yeah, wow. That's funny that you like odd numbers. That's funny. I would definitely think you liked even numbers.
Because of the Virgo thing. But yeah. I've always identified as an oddball. So we're fully not talking, which is why the Third Amendment exists.
Because I'm just blessed to have no one trying to take over my home. So I'm thankful for at least that right now. You know, with all of the things that are out here, COVID's trying to move in without any permission and all types of stuff. So I'm just thankful that, you know, nobody specifically is trying to move into my dwelling right now. Although if you do want to move in and pay rent, that
not my dwelling
is another thing. But, you know, yeah. Well, guys, we've really enjoyed you. This is the first time we've actually gotten done like within the hour, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's about to tell us we're over time though. Let's be real. We cannot finish. We're like, we gotta finish, but it's gonna count down. Right. Should we go before the countdown or should we just let it run out?
No, let's let it go. Like, we'll stop it before.
Okay. Yeah.
So then we can cut it. Bye, guys. A special thanks to 19 Beats 2 for the music.
Yes.
And always thank you to Jamie and 19 for keeping the comment section popping for us. Never dry.
Look, wifey's biggest fans. We can't ask for more. Yeah. And Kayla.
And best friends. And best friends.
And Goldie.
Yes. We've got a lot of good support systems out here. So we appreciate all of you guys. We love you.
We'll post it, and then we're going to have the text for the amendment in our posts.
Correct. Awesome. Right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Saturday. Here again, 8 o'clock for the next episode of 27.
Or 5 o'clock.
Go through my stuff. Yes, search and seizure. It's a big one. So be here. Yay.
Don't text us all week if you know us personally, because we will be researching for you.
With lipstick on.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.